This is Objective 6 Splunk. You can find Professor Banis in the lab, and if you speak with him, he'll give you the credentials and the URL to go to for the Splunk server. After you get out there and you're authenticated, you'll be met with this ELF University SOC chat, which will help guide you through starting the training questions. I'm not going to go over the individual training questions in the video. They'll be in the write-up, but what you need to know from them is that there was a successful attack carried out against Professor Banis. He was emailed from one of his students a malicious Word document that was a macro enabled, so it was a .docm, and after he opened it, it launched PowerShell, gave the attacker access to his device, and the attacker exfiltrated some data. So for the actual challenge, we're asked what was the message for Kent, the adversary embedded in this attack. So something you'll learn from doing the training questions also, they're running stock STOQ on their environment, which is pulling out all of the files from their email traffic, and we have access to them in this file archive. So if you open up the file archive, you're sent to this S3 bucket, and if you go down the directory structure until you actually hit a file, you can see they're all named with these file hashes, and if you go to the link, you can download them, which is nice because now we can get them on our machine. But something I noticed, so if you go to this link for the download and just go to the base URL, the just base S3 URL, you'll get this XML file which describes all of the files in the S3 bucket. So we can use this and just, instead of trying to click through the web interface, we can just download all the files to our machine and search through them that way. So start by getting the index.html, which will have all of our keys. And I'm just going to make this bigger. And after we have that, we can loop over each one of the keys and pull it down. Whoops. Make sure it's in the right location. Okay. And while that's running, I'm going to go back over to Splunk and open up my search. So every file we pull down is going to have this file name that is a hash, and that's kind of ugly and makes it hard to see what's going on. But since we have the stock logs in Splunk, we're able to create a mapping between the file name and the hash, and we can then rename all of our files into their originals so we can more clearly see what's happening here. So after you get this in Splunk, you can export CSVs. So we'll do that, and I'm just going to call this file names. Okay, export, save, and we're done pulling down all these files, and you see all the file hash names. Okay, make this bigger again. So if we look at file names, you see it's file name comma hash the whole way across. And I'm just going to clean this up a little bit for our purposes. I don't need this header, and we don't need those quotes. They're just going to make our output ugly. Okay, that's better. Alright, so now that we have all of the files pulled down and we have the file names to hash mapping, we can write another loop that'll just go through each one, search for the hash in the file names.csv, and rename it correctly. And it's important to have that double dash backup equal numbered, because then if a file has the same name, it's not going to overwrite it. And now we can see we have a lot of easy to read named files. We can see XML, we can see docx's, which is great. So we know from going through the training questions that he was attacked using a docm, so let's see if we have that. Okay, there we go. So 19th century holiday cheer assignment.docm. And if we go back just to show you in these training questions. It's right here. It's number 4. So if we cat that out, it looks like they scrubbed the file to keep us safe, but it says that the core XML file will still have the information we need. So if we do an ls, we have a bunch of core XML files. We can just cat all of those. And we can look through. I mean, that's still kind of hard to read, but it'll catch your eye. This one's a little bit different. So this one says, Kent, you are so unfair. That looks like our message. Let's just clean this up. So if we just grep for Kent in core, there we go. So Kent, you are so unfair, and we are going to make you the king of the winter carnival. So it looks like that's a message for Kent. If we go back, should be able to submit that. Oops, missed the period at the end. There we go. And that was the message for Kent. Congratulations.